Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and having a fantastic week. In today's video, I'm doing a Crimson-bellied Conure care guide. They're a species that are becoming really popular as pets at the moment, and I wanted to give you some accurate information because even when we were adopting our Crimson-bellied Conures, because they are both rehomes, we looked online and we were like, oh, these sound like really cuddly, quiet and playful birds. And that's not always the case. So I wanted to give you the reality of what it's like to live with a Crimson-bellied Conure so you can make that choice before you bring one home. It takes a very, very patient person to live with Crimson-bellieds because they are an exceptionally challenging species. I'm not just basing this on my two, I'm also basing it on speaking to lots of Crimson-bellied Conure owners and also Crimson-bellied Conure owners who we've helped with our parrot behaviour and training consultancy, Best Behaved Birds. So I'm not just saying this is what my two are like and that's it. However, if you have a Crimson-bellied Conure that's not like how I'm going to describe in this video, that's okay, that's lovely. But generally speaking, this is really what it's like to live with a Crimson-bellied Conure. Now, if you're not familiar with our flock, we have two Crimson-bellied Conures, 4 green cheek conures and 2 cockatiels. Now, a lot of people think that Crimson-bellied Conures are just like a colour mutation of green cheeks, but they're not. They're a completely different species, aren't they, Kipling? And you can tell that because they have a very stocky beak, it's much thicker. They also have a shorter tail compared to green cheek conures, so that's a really big difference. And also the very big difference, which a lot of people aren't prepared for, is they have a much stronger bite force than a green cheek conure. So if you get bitten by a green cheek, it's not going to hurt quite as much as when you get bitten by a Crimson-belly because their bite force is significantly stronger because they have got that stockier beak, and a lot of people don't realise that. They're also slightly larger in size and weight than green cheek conures. However, they can kind of coexist and communicate and bond up to green cheek conures. So we have Kipling, one of our Crimson-bellied Conures, and he's bonded up to Louis, who is our one-legged cinnamon green cheek conure. And then we have Charlie, our other Crimson-bellied Conure, and he's bonded up to Olive, our turquoise yellow-sided green cheek conure. So they can coexist and be bonded up and live happily together, but they are very different species. That's really important to remember. Now, a lot of Crimson-bellied owners, including us, actually joke that they're kind of like mini cockatoos. So whilst one minute they can be really loving and affectionate, enjoying scritches, at the click of her fingers they will get overstimulated, potentially show some undesirable behaviours, aggression, that kind of thing. So that's something to really bear in mind. Their behaviour is slightly more challenging to learn in terms of their body language and things like that, and they can change very, very quickly. As you can see, Kipling is getting very excited because I'm talking, and if I push it too much, he's probably going to bite me very hard. He's currently just chewing around my fingers, but if I push it too much, then he will absolutely bite down hard. Something else that's really important to remember with any species of conure, but especially Crimson-bellieds, is they're very sensitive to sound and vibration. So loud noises, vibrations, anything like that can really overstimulate them and kind of freak them out and also lead to undesirable behaviours. So that's always fun, isn't it? Louis come to join us. He wanted to tell you that Crimson-bellied conures, like many other species of parrots, are actually very sensitive to stress and change, and of course we can work through this to build confident and independent birds, but Crimson-bellieds are actually a bit more prone to plucking, and unfortunately before Kipling came to us he did experience some plucking, which obviously is never a nice experience, and he looked a bit bedraggled and things like that. However, we did work through his stress once he settled in here, and we identified different ways of alleviating this. He doesn't pluck anymore now, and we're really, really thrilled about that because it can be a tricky behaviour to overcome. It's currently sat on top of the camera, but yes, plucking is something that can occur, especially in Crimson-bellieds because they are so sensitive. So Crimson-bellied conures need a really nice healthy diet. Now, an example of how we feed our birds is in the morning they get some sprouted seeds, grains and legumes, really, really healthy. They may also get some microgreens, and they'll also get a wide variety of vegetables, a little bit of fruit and some soaked nuts as well. Really nice and healthy base for the morning. And then in the afternoon they get our dry mix. I have our DIY dry mix and seed mix on my channel if you'd like to see exactly what they eat, but it's a mixture of freeze-dried vegetables, some dried seeds, sometimes some chopped nuts, spices, herbs, flowers, lots of really nice, yummy, tasty things that we try and mimic in a nice natural diet that covers all bases for their nutrition, and it's going to be the most appropriate and bioavailable for them, and it's going to really meet the needs of a conure specifically. So if you'd like to know more about that, I have a whole nutrition playlist on this channel that I highly recommend you checking out after this video. So this is our cage set up for our Crimson-bellied conure Kipling and our green-cheeked conure Louis. Louis does have one leg, so we've made a few adjustments to make sure that he can manage, but I wanted to show you just how big this cage is. It's a great cage and it is in my Amazon store if you want to take a look. And we'll have a quick peek inside all of the lovely things. We've got some long perches here in front of the stainless steel bowls. We've got a platform perch up there that Louis and Kipling like to sit on, and some bolster toys. We've got some mint through the bars there this morning. We've got this lovely pouch toy with crinkle paper in. We've got a swing, lots of lovely toys. The seagrass mat is definitely his favourite. He loves to shred it, as you can see. That was a whole seagrass mat before. We've got cardboard toys. We have two resources, so we have one set of bowls for one bird and one the other so they don't fight. We've then got lots of other lovely flat perches. We've got a bit of poops up there, but you know, that's the reality of having birds. I'll clean that up in a second. Lots of other things. This party preener perch is one of Kipling's favourite to shred. We've got a long sisal rope that they like to sit on. We've got a toy box full of toys that they both like to throw out on the floor, and a single sort of sandy perch but sort of not. So this is made of crushed seashells rather than sand, so it's perfectly safe for them to interact with. And of course we've got the substrate base that they love to play in. This is Easy Chick, and I am a brand ambassador for Easy Chick, but there are lots of other options if you can't get it in your part of the world. But this is one of their favourite places to be, to forage and have floor toys and lots of other fun. So it's a really great size. They can hop and fly about and that kind of thing in there, and it is lots and lots of fun. Crimson-bellied conures are also super social, as I've kind of touched upon already. Now this is Charlie. He is bonded up with Olive, our turquoise yellow-sided green-cheeked conure, and they really love hanging out together. And it's a myth that if you get more than one bird, they won't bond with you. It's not true. All of our birds are bonded to us as well as their own individual pairs. But you have to remember, if you do end up having a single bird, that you are their flock. So when you go out to school or work, university, or just out living your life, they're going to be at home, and as a flock and social species, that could potentially make them a little bit uncomfortable. So you need to bear that in mind, that you need to train your bird how to be independent and confident if they are a single bird. However, we are very pro multi-bird households. We find that it really does benefit our birds' welfare and their overall life and happiness. We have a flock of 8 birds, so kind of proves it. Charlie's flying around like crazy. It's all part of the fun, but we do recommend having a multi-bird household if you're able to, but also bear in mind that if you have a single bird, you are their flock. Now, a lot of what you read online about Crimson-bellied conures is they're super quiet birds. They love to talk. Now, in terms of being quiet, I don't know whose bird they're looking at for that information, but they're not a quiet species. No conures. Conures are some of the loudest of the parrot world. So they can absolutely alarm call, be really noisy if they want to be. They can scream if they want to. And something I do agree with actually is that they can be very good talkers. Now, I don't agree with getting a bird because you want it to talk as like the main reason, because there's so much more to keeping parrots than just having a bird that can talk. But they have the ability to say lots of things. Charlie is so good at talking, aren't you? I'm surprised he's not doing it now, because normally when I film, he gets very excited if you've ever seen any of my live streams. He can say lots of different things like, Charlie's a good boy, I love you, baby, he's a bundle of fun. And it is very cute, and kisses as well when they speak, but they are definitely not a quiet bird. So if you're looking for a quiet bird, conures just are not the one for you. Now, as with any parrot species, no matter which one you get, you do need to make sure that you find an avian vet for in case of an emergency, or if you need to see them. You don't want to be looking for an avian vet when your bird gets sick, because then you're going to have even more stress on your hands. And birds are very good at hiding signs of illness until it's really quite serious. So having an avian vet on hand, you know, their number in your phone, that kind of thing, have your bird registered with them is really important. And it is important that they are an avian vet. You can't just take your bird to a dog and cat vet because they haven't had the specialised training they need in order to look after birds. Now, if you need any help finding an avian vet, please do drop me a message anytime. I'd love to help you. I've found avian vets all over the world, but do have one before you need one. Now, because avian vets have had extra training and that kind of thing, their treatment, appointments and all that kind of stuff is going to cost even more money. And it's important to remember that conures and parrots in general are not cheap pets. They are very, very expensive to keep. So you need to bear that in mind. You need to make sure your finances are in order to be able to look after one or more, because they're just so expensive, whether that comes from, you know, vet appointments, the cage, the toys, the food, the perches, the travel carriers, play stands. Johnny, I know you are a baby. Thank you so much. They're super expensive, so make sure you have your finances in order. I do have some money saving kind of videos and tips and stuff and that on my channel. So again, just watch all my videos. There's lots of information on there. Even if it's not Crimson-bellied conure specific, it will definitely apply to them in various different ways. Crimson-bellied conures are a big commitment. They can live for about 20 to 25 years if they are nice and happy and healthy. So that's a huge commitment. So if you're in school or you are a younger person, do consider that 20 to 25 year commitment and how that will impact your life and the choices that you make, jobs, travel, families, all that kind of stuff, and where you will live too, because you need to plan for the future when you bring a bird like this into your home, because they are going to be living a long time hopefully, so we want to make sure that we're well prepared for that. So your Crimson-bellied conure is going to need lots of lovely toys to shred. You can also do DIY foraging trays, which I've got on this channel, and other DIYs too. You can also have puzzle feeders and things like that, but I wanted to show you some of the toys that are appropriate for Crimson-bellied conures. The first one we have got here from West Coast Bobs. This is Yucca, and generally we say for small birds, if you can break the material with your fingernail, that's an appropriate kind of hardness. If you can't and the wooden blocks are too hard, might not always be the best choice for a conure, although some will enjoy it. Then we've got this lovely one from Northern Parrots. We've got balsa, mahogany pods, solar. The cockatiels have been really noisy, so I apologise. And then we've also got this lovely palm leaf one. So nice natural materials. We don't really want to see plastic in there because conures like to chew plastic, and we don't want them chewing anything like that because it could cause them lots of problems. You want to go for nice natural materials, lots of fun. A lot of resources and the internet says about Crimson-bellied conures is that they're really cuddly, soft and gentle. And while they can be super cuddly, it can take a really long time to build up that bond and that trust. And you have to come back to remember that their behaviour can switch in an instant. So you can be having lovely cuddles and scritches, and then something will have made them uncomfortable, and just like that, you've now got a conure attached to your hand by the beak. And as we said, the bite force of a Crimson-bellied conure is very strong, and their bites do hurt. And of course you want to avoid bites at all costs, but they can sometimes do it as methods of communication, and their body language is so subtle, we can't always know when their behaviour is going to shift. So they can be really lovely, cuddly, gentle birds, but that's not the case all the time, and you do have to spend a long time building up that bond and developing that trust with them. Now, all parrot species are messy, and Crimson-bellied conures are no exception. Whether that's pooping every 10 to 15 minutes, throwing vegetables and fruit all over the walls and the floor, shredding toys and throwing toy parts everywhere, there's going to be mess. And of course we want to keep on top of that. We don't want to live in a dirty house. But if you can't handle the constant mess, again, maybe parrots aren't the right pet for you, because there's mess every day of the year and we just have to clean it up. That's one of the downsides of being a parrot owner. Now, something that's kind of funny and endearing but also challenging is Crimson-bellied conures are very single-minded. When they want to do something, they don't really want to be interested in what you're trying to distract them with. They just want to do what they want to do, and they can be very much like, I'm just going to do it, get out of my way. Whether that's, getting to spaces they're not supposed to, or trying to get your snacks when you tell them you don't want them to, or just generally getting up to mischief. And we have to bear that in mind, because again, we want to develop some of those training skills like target training and things like that in order to try and tempt them to not do undesirable things like chewing up the wall, for example. And that comes down to treat motivation as well. So knowing what your Crimson-bellied conure's favourite treat is and reserving that only for training is going to have more impact when you're trying to ask them, please don't chew the wall, come and target over here instead for a pine nut, for example. That's going to leave you in better stead than come and target over here for a piece of broccoli. They may not do that, and then you're going to end up with lots of beak marks all over your walls. Crimson-bellied conures are a nippy species, just like pretty much every conure species. Our green cheeks are exactly the same, but again, that bite force is very strong with crimsons. And with parrots in general, they like to explore the world with their beak. It's one of their main tools. So they are going to be testing things, testing the boundaries as well, testing your limits with that beak. So you have to bear that in mind, that you're going to have to work through a lot of that potential nippiness and biting in order to teach your bird what's acceptable and what isn't through positive reinforcement. But their nippiness does hurt. So again, you have to have kind of a higher pain threshold if you want to live with conures as well. Now, in order to have a happy, refreshed crimson-bellied conure, they do need to have a very good sleep. Now, we don't recommend covering cages because that can lead to undesirable behaviours such as hormonal behaviour or them chewing on the cage cover and that causing crop impaction or stress. But we recommend having a nice dark room. We use a blackout blind in the summer. We just kind of suction cup it to the window, take it down in the morning, and we have a night light as well. But having a nice dark room, and crimson-bellied conures need to have access to the opportunity to sleep for 12 hours. There's a few things online saying that's a myth, but in our experience, it's not. They do need about 11 to 12 hours of opportunity to sleep a night. So that means 11 to 12 hours of darkness. Doesn't have to be pitch black, doesn't have to be silent, but it does need to be dark enough for them to decide to sleep if they want to. We have noticed when our birds have had less sleep than that for one reason or another, they are exceptionally cranky. And again, we see more of those undesirable behaviours when that happens. We've seen a really direct correlation, not only with our birds, but with other types of parrots as well. So we recommend giving your bird the opportunity to sleep for 12 hours. And again, that's a huge lifestyle change when you consider it, along with other aspects of conure care. It's not just as simple as bringing a bird in and that's it. You have to change the whole way that you do things in your life. And another change as well is making sure that your home is bird safe, making sure everybody knows not to open windows and doors unless your bird is safely in their space, whether that's a cage, bird room, aviary. You also can't use non-stick cookware or any other item that may have non-stick on it, like Teflon, PFOA or PTFE. So that is things like waffle makers, air fryers, slow cookers, your hair dryer may have that too, straighteners. Lots and lots of products have non-stick coating on them, and that is toxic for birds. It's not just a case of I'll use it and see what happens. It can kill them instantly. As well as that, self-cleaning ovens, not so common in the UK, but I know in other parts of the world they are. If you use that, it's exceptionally toxic to your birds. Lots of other things. What are we thinking of? Avocado is exceptionally toxic to your bird. Never ever feed your bird avocado. Chocolate, alcohol, fizzy drinks. I mean, I don't know why you would anyway, but that's really important. Things like candles, air fresheners, wax melts, anything you spray around your house that's an artificial smell, they are toxic. And you might be thinking, well, for these kind of sprays and stuff, why is that so toxic? And for the Teflon and things like that. Our birds have a very sensitive respiratory system, and they have that because it helps them to fly. It helps them to be really efficient with their flight, with that gas exchange in their body with the oxygen, which is great. But when it comes to being exposed to toxins in the air, like the non-stick cookware, like the candles and wax melts and air fresheners and things like that, that means it gets absorbed into their body really quickly. So all of those toxic things get into their body super quickly, and they're a small bird, gets circulated around the system. It's not going to end well. So please make sure that before you bring a bird home, you are fully up to date with what sorts of things could be harmful to your bird in your house. Now, crimson-bellied conures are super smart. Our two are no exception. They're fantastic at flying, recall, stationing. They know loads of different tricks like high five, wave and flip and spin, and lots of different vocals as well. Target training, of course, too. And they're also learning different puzzles and cognitive enrichment as well. So they're really smart. And that means that you have to make sure they are stimulated throughout the day with different toys and activities, socialization with you or other birds in the house they are bonded to. They need to be having opportunities for exercise as well. So they really are a high maintenance pet that you have to put a lot of effort into every single day. You don't get a day off when you live with birds. Every day is hard work and challenging. But for me and David, my partner, the parrot teacher, is super rewarding, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Now, if you have a crimson-bellied conure already and you're watching this video thinking, oh yeah, I know about all these behaviours, and you are struggling in any way with behaviour, training, diet, play, or any other thing that's not medical related, or if you have any other bird, this still applies to you. David and I have our business, Best Behaved Birds, which is a bespoke and affordable parrot care consultation service. So if that's something you would like more information on, all the links will be down in the description. Now, if you've watched this whole video and you think, oh, Crimson-bellied conures might not be the right parrot for me, that's totally okay. I don't actually usually recommend them to a lot of people. And that's not to say that I can keep them and nobody else can. I'm not gatekeeping Crimson-bellied conures. But out of my whole flock, and pretty much most of the parrots I've been working with for the last 14 years, they are by far one of the most challenging species to work with. And that's not to say that I don't love them. Of course I do, I have 2 of my own. But they are really, really tough. And if you're considering a conure species, I would not say that Crimson-bellied conures would be the first choice I would say for everybody. But if you have your heart set on Crimson-bellied conures and this video hasn't put you off, then absolutely go for it and add one into your life, because they are bundles of fun. They're just very, very difficult to live with. So that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about what it's like to live with Crimson-bellied conures. If you have any questions about them, please do leave them down in the comments, as I would love to speak to you. Or if you have a Crimson-bellied conure of your own, I'd love to know all about them in the comments too. Don't forget to check out the rest of my channel. There's loads and loads of videos, I think about 250 videos on my channel, which you may find useful in learning more about how to look after parrots. And don't forget, if you like more of this content, to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bells, because it really does help my channel. But I really hope that you have enjoyed this video today. But from me and the flock, thanks for watching, take care and see you later.